everyone, and welcome to our show, She is Talking. I'm your host, Fatma Al-Awadi, and I have here my dear friend, Amal Al-Mulla. How are you, Amal?
Well, I am good as long as I see that wonderful smile of yours, Fatuma.
Thank you very much.
And I would like also to ask our viewers to have that wonderful smile upon them while they are seeing our program, She is Talking. And we are once again with you this week. We have a special episode that's gonna be a little back in memory lane, Fatuma.
Yes, of course. Sometimes memories bring positive feelings and good feelings, but sometimes it brings sad feelings, right?
Yeah.
I always think that when we're nostalgic about our past, it's beautiful whether it's sad or happy.
Well,
sad memories also bring happiness later on.
because at the moment of that, you remember the moment that you were sad, and then you reflect upon it and how much you have improved since then, as well as the same thing we are talking about memories that were in the past.
Right, it's
We
true.
have overcome them. We have been going in a long, wonderful road.
Right.
And
Are you
some-
talking about the goose attack?
Yes. Everybody would know someday about that goose attack.
Yes.
Well, how about I tell you that story, but not now, Fatuma, after the break?
Yes.
After the break.
Welcome back, everyone. We are still here on She is Talking. And yes, Amal, we were talking about memories.
Yes,
And,
and some of my frightening memories, if I can say so, I was like around 3 years old, and we were in a farm in Al Wafra with my mom and dad, and I was attacked by a goose. I don't know why, but they attacked me, the goose and the geese beside it and all of its friends, like a gang, and then they attacked me.
Wow.
And they took me to the pond and tried to drown me. I'm not sure what happened or what did I do for them, but now whenever any goose is around, I don't like them so much, and my mom and dad reflects about those memories and start laughing and
Wow.
laughing at me at that time when I was 3 years old, so little, so tiny. And because I was a premature baby, I was so tiny, and then the goose was carrying me here, then they would laugh. And when I see that laughter in my mom's and father's faces and the glitter in their eyes, well, they reflect upon a nasty memory, by the way, for me at that age of time, because
Right.
like I still don't like geese. I like eating them, but I don't like following them around. But it is a fun time. It
is.
reflects upon that time, how we had fun, how the date started, and those, I think, that action in that day had made a mark upon all of us. We would go back to the same day, relive it again, and feel all of the emotions.
Right. And I love that you're smiling about that. And it's
Yeah.
even though it was traumatic, but you are actually overcoming it. And I remember the other episode when we were talking about the phobia, right?
Yeah,
And you were
I'm-
telling us, and we were laughing. We're not laughing at you. We're laughing with you,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
And you say this is the thing, because sometimes, we have phobias, we have some anxieties towards specific subjects.
Right.
We don't know why.
Right.
Until we go back to that lane.
Right.
We
So
remember.
what about a memory that made you angry? Now that you're thinking about it, maybe you're not that angry,
Yes.
but before, were you angry at something?
Well, there are a lot of times that I get angry, but not as anger in the meaning of anger. I get angry because I'm frustrated. I cannot do anything about
Right.
it at the same time.
Maybe
And
because we were children, or maybe we
yes,
were,
or
yeah,
because
we
we
weren't
were
old enough.
powerless,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that powerless makes me angry. I like
Right.
to be in control. I like to be a powerful person. But when I'm not in control and I cannot control anything, especially if it's like something of oppression, like
Yes,
some
yes.
bad what comes to
Yes,
others,
yeah.
not just me. For me, I
Yeah.
can really move over, but others I cannot, and that makes me angry. But when I remember those times, I say, I think I was wise.
That's amazing.
I
Yeah,
was-
yeah.
Because
yeah.
I didn't overact or
It's true.
overreact to that same position.
Right.
And that's what makes us today.
It's true. I love what you said because I have a story for you.
Okay, wonderful. Now Fatuma's time.
So here's the deal. When I was 10 years old,
Okay.
my mom was like, okay, it's time you make your first majboos, right?
10 years.
Yes.
10 years.
Yes, and because everyone at 10 years old, they learn how to make majboos and you don't want to fall behind. That's what my mom told me.
Okay.
I was like, okay, so we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and I tried it. And she they teach us how to cook ever since we were young, right?
Okay.
And it's not just me; it's also my sisters and brothers.
Uh-huh.
So I started doing it, and it was so frustrating. And the next day, I went to school, and I was like, oh man, the majboos really was, taking a toll on me. And they're like, you cook? And then I went back home, and I'm like, Mama, how did you, force me to do this? She's like, I'm not talking about the girls at school. I'm talking in general and in life, right? They were trying to teach us and train us because they knew that they were going to send us abroad to study and live, right? So if I didn't know how to make majboos by 10, I wouldn't even know how to make steak or even make eggs when I'm alone, when I'm living alone. My dad did the same thing to us with cars. You have to know how to drive a stick shift. I thought everyone knew how to drive a stick shift, right? And by 14 or 15, me and my brothers and sisters, we know how to drive stick shift.
Wow.
So now when we go to Europe, for example, as I told you, we always rent stick shift because it's cheaper. Right?
It's cheaper, and also it's affordable, and they are everywhere. I know because I don't know how to ride
Right.
a
So
stick shift.
back then, I would be frustrated and angry because none of my friends and classmates knew how to do that or even cared how to do that. And their dads and moms wouldn't force them to do this. For us, it was like military camp, like boot camp, right?
But Fatuma,
Yeah.
you say it's a military camp.
Yeah.
I love that. I wished I would be like that.
Okay,
because
you're like...
when I look back at my age and time, I used to I loved cooking cakes.
Oh, that's nice.
And my mom
Yeah, that's
wouldn't
nice.
allow me to go into the kitchen.
Oh, okay,
And
I get
was
it.
like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna grow up someday. I want to cook something. But she says, no, just go study. This is not your job.
Okay.
I do the cooking. Everyone has a job. My job as a child, just to study. My father to work, her to cook. And she was of that school.
Right.
So you see, these are different schools with our parents.
Yeah,
well,
that's
I would
amazing.
love to have, because after I got married, I really enrolled in cooking classes because I didn't
amazing.
know how to cook anything.
Right.
And my husband made his life be much easier because he got me with nothing on my belt. He was the cook in the house, and
Mashallah.
he still cooks. But I was like, he knows everything and I know nothing. Okay, I'm smart, but that is nothing
Without, you mean the skills, the practical skills, right?
You would be smart, but how would
Okay.
you really cook something because you know how to do it?
Right, you need to train them. But your kids know.
Yes.
Because
Now,
you've been through that,
you
right? So
see,
you need to train them ever
That's
since.
why my kids now, they have their own schedule. They know how to, they have their own chores. They know how to cook for themselves since they were 10.
Right, mashallah.
So I think I'm the military personnel
Yes.
Fatma is talking about.
But sometimes, and I want to say this, I'm proud of the way we were raised. Everyone should be proud of the way they were raised because you can't go back and change it. So you need to accept it. And I look back and I go like, had they not done this to us, we wouldn't be able to survive abroad because we weren't with the, on the government scholarship. We were alone.
Okay.
So we had to work and pay for our rent and do all of that. I knew how to, cook anything and from the ingredients that I had from my pantry or my fridge. And I think it's a very good skill to know how to drive and cook. Those two skills, they can save you like when you're very young. So you need to know how to drive. So when you're 18, you've driven for like what, 2-3 years already. You're not one of those newbies on the road.
Don't listen to Fatma about
so
driving
sorry.
when you are 14. Never listen to her.
Under supervision.
Under supervision.
In the desert.
Not alone. But I can relate to that, yes, because when I see my children, sometimes I travel from like a day to do, or I have some work abroad, and my triplets are home alone with no workers with them, their dad in the work. So who would tend for them? Who would make them breakfast? Who would make their clothes and who would wash it and all? They know all of that.
Right. So
And
these
that-
are the
those
skills.
So these are the skills. So that was really a great memory lane we were walking in.
I know, right? I was reliving it.
Yes, it is, it is. And these are the good moments that we would love to live every time, here and then. I think, dear viewers, if you had a little bit of a sad moment, just sit there, relive those memories that you were doing with families, partners, happiness all the time, and then be thankful and grateful because those memories made you as you are. A quick break, then continue. She is talking.
Welcome back, dear viewers. We are still here on She is Talking, and now we have our guest segment. Today we have with us the architect, Sara Jarbo. Welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
It is really great to have you with us, architect or engineer, Sara, as we can say, because we know that architecture is a part of the engineering. And whenever anyone tells me an architect, I always goes to those special buildings, and I always would like, I have that notion of whenever I see a building, who did that building and why did he do it? Like the Kuwait Towers.
Right.
And like the assembly, the building of the National Assembly, it's like a tent, and all of those things gets me of the idea. The architect, he's trying to figure out, or he sees something we don't see.
Of course.
Yeah, that's very true. The National Assembly, it's actually made by a very famous architect, the same one as Sydney Opera.
Yes.
So it's a monumental building at the end of the day, even
Yes.
the Kuwait Towers. So when you design something that is meant to last,
Yes.
it becomes a monument with time.
Wow.
Wow.
So please tell us about your journey. Why did you choose architecture?
I think it started when I was in school. I used to enjoy drawing a lot, but I wasn't like, drawing isn't exactly a profession I wanted to go into. And then I think towards the end of high school, I made this electrical invention. I thought to myself, oh, I'm pretty smart, you know?
Nice, nice, yes.
So I was like, okay, let me put these together. And architecture basically is like engineering / art. So I was like, okay, that's the one.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's really good.
And how long have you been an architect for?
I started working in 2013, but it was along with my studies. I probably finished my master's 3-4 years after that.
Mashallah.
So I would say like since 2010 I started working,
Wow.
and 202013 officially.
Mashallah. And you like it,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
We're not going to
passion.
ask if you like your job, right?
I know that, but the thing this made me questions, just a little question, is an architect always an artist, or is an artist can be an architect? It's a balance. That's why, because you said you like drawings. And
Yeah. Actually, I would say there's two types of architecture.
Yes.
There's architectural engineering and arts and architecture.
Okay.
Architectural engineering is what we commonly teach in the Arab world. It's very like pragmatic, it's calculations, it's this.
Yeah.
But while on the other hand, the artistic part is the feeling aspect, like to play with your emotions in the space, to make
Wow.
you feel things. It's very intricate and it's really enjoyable.
Wow.
I had the
When
chance
she
to
said
study.
emotions, it
Yeah.
hit
Yeah.
really
It
hard,
is.
It's
right?
been proven that your brain interacts and feels differently when you're within a space. So we're really shaping you in a way, like architecture
Wow.
shapes our minds.
Really? So if we can say a round building or a circle building, like 360, so does that shape us? Going
Not
round and round
particularly. It's a
around each
commercial
other?
building,
Is it just
but
going
it's
round and
beautiful.
round?
It's not personal space. But what about interior design? By the way, I'm not sticking to the
No, go for it.
questions,
scripts,
but
yeah.
because I can see the energy here. What about interior design when it comes to, for example, let's say minimalism? It's my favorite. I love architecture and I love interior design when it comes to minimalism.
Yeah.
And we're talking like really minimalist. Like
is
it's really,
more.
really nice. I'm sorry?
Less is more.
Less is
Yes.
more,
Yeah,
right?
that's the-
And my sister is the opposite. She likes to maximize everything. So what do you think of those movements, let's say?
In architecture, there's many styles because we all have different vibe. We all feel things differently. in my opinion, minimalism is really nice because it doesn't make my head feel overwhelmed. I just relax in a space. I don't need to look at everything and see a million things. Like, let my brain go wild, you know, like, and that's the beauty of it. It doesn't take away a lot of the energy around you. More is more, like the maximalism is still an approach, but I think it's harder to design with minimalism because when you take a plain wall and go like, okay, here you go, what do you do with that?
Right.
While if you add more and more and more, okay, then you know you just don't notice the design because your eye is spreading everywhere. It doesn't know where to look.
Right, and then there's a difference between the room is empty or the room has minimalist style, right?
yeah.
So you can't just leave the room empty. You have to have notions of the little decorations here and there, and the color actually makes a difference too. You're not going to walk in a minimalist room and find it, you know, dark blue or red. Right?
Yes.
So it's all neutral and stuff like that, right?
I think the word you said is very good, the notion of things. So even a simple line with an intention can make the difference.
Wow.
You take me back in time with the old ages, like my ancestors used to, like if we can say in Kuwait and all around the world, used to build their houses with clay. And they don't have much shelves. They put like holes in the walls, and we call it roshina.
Yes, yeah.
So I know that nowadays people are getting back to that notion, getting back to that simplicity. And as well, it's a bio. We want to decrease the, let's say, carbon dioxide print on the air. So we are going back to the, let's say, bio buildings, right? And sustainability. I know that you, Ms. Sarah, is into the sustainability buildings. Telling us about that.
Well, it's very true that we do look back at the way people used to be, because think about it, they had no electricity and they survived the heat. So how did they manage to do it? And they basically did it by understanding nature, understanding their orientation, understanding the sun, and building around it. So for example, in the old houses, they used to create courtyards. And in the middle, you'd see a water feature, and that kind of like was like for the wind to come in, it cools it, it takes it, navigates it. There's so much thought into it.
It's a system.
Of course, it's an ecosystem in a way. So people nowadays are going like, okay, our AC can no longer take it. Like this summer, there was like talks about finding other ways to generate electricity because we're going way above the grid can handle. So we're like, okay, we can minimize concrete and construction. I'm not sure what the exact percentage, but we contribute tremendously to the pollution that's happening. So if we can build better, then we're helping the whole system in a way. Sustainability is good.
I agree. Yes,
really,
it's true.
This is a look into the future, if we can say.
It's true. And speaking of, the clay, actually, one of the styles that I like also is the industrialist style, right?
Cute.
And you have this concrete wall that actually reminds me of the old buildings, right? Or let's say the urban or let's say metropolitan buildings that have these concrete walls, and you walk in a studio or an apartment and it's all concrete and the ceiling is open. It's very invigorating, I want to say. Yes, it is, right? I don't know if this style actually is very famous in Kuwait when it comes to homes, because we are all about coziness.
Well, I think nowadays people are trying to get to the better living for themselves and their children, because this is what I know. I'm building my house, so I know that I'm building not just for me, also for my children when they also get married. So they need to have that space. And as I live in a city in Kuwait, I live in Ahmadi, and we have the front yard, backyard, and I like the greens. I like to sit outside. So I'm thinking the same thing. Like in the past, they used to have the court, not in front yard, the mid yard.
Right.
So can I do that, building around it? So
what about the swimming pool?
That's for sure.
I like the water feature. And a lot of people are telling me, Fatma, you guys are not going to use it. I'm like, that's the point. We don't need to use it, but you can use it as, vision type.
Well, I would say yes. You wouldn't really use a pool in the house. Like maybe you'd go once or twice, and it's a lot of maintenance. So it's not the most sustainable option, to be honest.
Right.
But it is a beautiful feature, and if you have kids, like who wouldn't want to, you know?
How about fountains or waterfalls? A lot of people are really interacting with those things right now.
They are cute features. I would say if you want them to act in a functional way, you have to take into consideration the concept of the courtyard and the open volumes, and orientating your house towards it.
Yes.
Because if you consider like those new areas that came out, the plot is so tight and everybody's building so close to each other, and there's no kind of any views you can see.
Wow.
Right? But if we kind of like enclose that and build around the courtyard and create our borrowed scenery within, then you have a
This
whole
is
view.
another way of looking at it.
Right.
Exactly.
Is it good because we are all about the ecology, and we are all about the sustainability. We are trying to benefit the earth and give back to earth instead of the past. Let's say we used to drain our mother nature, but now we want to say no, it's the same thing. And I know some of the architects are really building houses so that the air would really be going around without any let's say putting pressure upon electricity and ACs, right?
Yeah, that's called passive cooling. It's one of the sustainable methodologies you could use, and it's used to kind of like create natural coolness by simply the air velocity. So you know how hot air goes up, cold air? Basically, that's the principle. And you channel that to kind of create cooling without any ACs.
Wow.
It's very intricate to do, but
It is.
And it is. So architects, you have so many aspects.
Yeah.
So what is your aspect, Ms. Sarah? I want to see that the road. Where are you going?
In my architecture, well, I feel that's so interesting. My aspect.
So what about inspiration? Let's say.
Okay, inspiration.
Zaha Hadid.
That was a difficult question.
Yeah, I was like, my
yeah.
style. Am I defining my style? I don't know. Zaha Hadid was, for me, not about her architecture, but she was an Arab and she was a female, and she made it in a place where not many females made it.
Yes,
Exactly.
So I was like, yes, I want to be that.
Inspiration.
Exactly. I want to be a female in a place where there's no females.
Yes.
And we need to spread it, because honestly, when you go to school, most students are females. But then in reality, when we come to real life, you don't see them.
No.
They don't even make it too far, because construction is male dominated, unfortunately.
It's true. And what do you think, if we want to switch to pieces of advice from the architect Sarah? Now we have, let's say, not small buildings, but we have a defined space of 400 meters, let's say. What do you think the best usage of this plot for us? How do we
That's
divide
another
it?
question.
Yeah,
That
I have
has
a lot
an
to say on
minute.
that. Well, honestly, I would say, first of all, don't look at what other people do and think you have to do the same.
Okay.
You don't need a bedroom that's 9 by 9.
Oh, no, you don't.
Really, you don't. No matter how much furniture you put in it, it's just never going to be enough, and it's just such a waste.
Yeah.
So
And it's too much when it goes to cleaning.
Yes.
Yes, I feel you there. I would just simply say, like, sit down and create a little timeline of your life. Like, when you come in, what do you do? Where do you eat? Do you enjoy watching TV while you're eating? What about your kids? Like, create a little story about what you do every day. And then find an architect that isn't an architectural engineer or like an arts and architecture, the conceptual
this
part.
is a good advice.
Yes, because an architectural engineer would be like, okay, here's a room,
Right.
Yeah, no. And we will translate that story into spaces, like a tangible space. Like, here's how you walk from here. This way we keep you privacy. This way you feel safe. This way you can, like, we just build around your life, basically.
To get a feel how to, yes.
It changes things.
This is a new concept of building. You see, this is really a new concept of building.
Yeah. I just want to have, I only have one question. Can
This
you
is the
please,
last one, because this
yes,
is
yeah,
what
I'm
we
so
are doing.
sorry. If you could please tell us about some of the projects that you've worked on.
Okay. Initially, I started with residential, but personally, I love interior. I've done a few restaurants, few coffee shops, maybe
Nice.
chocolate
Mashallah.
spaces. But yeah, between the two, I would say I'm into commercial buildings more.
That's beautiful.
Okay,
Okay, now we know your style.
Yes.
Okay,
So I
we've
think-
defined it. We've defined
Well,
it.
I would like to have a collaboration between Fatma and Ms. Sarah, architect Sarah, to see, because Fatma used to be a barista, so she has 3 rooms. I think one of the rooms would be have a coffee corner, and we can go there and visit her. And have
Thank you very much. You're the first one to come to our barista
Thank
room.
you very much.
Ms. Sarah, thank you very much for this interview. We had so much fun, and we don't want the time to end, but unfortunately we have come to the end of our segment. Is there anything else you would like to say?
No, I guess I just hope females in the future take more initiative and take more space in the construction industry, I would say.
No, we hope so too. Thank you very much. Thank you. Dear viewers, we want to thank Ms. Sarah Gerbo. She's an architect, and she told us a lot of things about architecture. Now, we will take a quick break, and we will be right back for some more variety of segments. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone, and we are still here talking about the memories and the relationships between mothers, daughters, fathers and daughters, or fathers and sons, right? So going back, reflecting on that, I feel like there were some points of strength and there were some points of weakness in the relationship of any family. What do you think?
Well, I know for a fact that any child would have a relationship between himself and his parents. That relationship would reflect upon him to the future. How he is raised, how everybody is really interacting with the society. So I think raising a child is not an easy job,
No, it's
especially for parents. So the relationship, if we can say, between a mother and a daughter is a sacred one and should always be on the positive side. But sometimes we have that defect in the relationship, no matter
It's
what.
true.
We don't know what's the positions of their
or
situations
their intentions.
intentions.
Yeah, sometimes the mother intends to
Intended,
do something good.
but
It
it
turns
comes-
out bad because
Yeah.
of the age difference, the generation difference.
Exactly,
You know,
and
yeah.
the thinking mindset of those
Yes.
parents. So how about we go to this wonderful report our producers has put together to show us a relationship between a girl and her mother.
My name is Jinan. I'm 14 years old. My favorite time of the day is when I spend the time with my mother. We spend a lot of time together by shopping and drinking coffees and reading books. She's the role model of my life. She always listens to me in my lows and keeps my secrets. My favorite time of the day is when I spend the time with her. I always listen to her advice and take her opinion in my clothes, hairstyles, and my makeup. And I know that she knows the best for me. And
I'm thinking this weekend that maybe I will go with you to the cinema to see any movie you want. Is it okay? You want to go shopping or?
yes, I would like to go to the cinema for the new movie. But I'm also thinking of the vacation. We could go on a trip in United Kingdom. Would you like to go? You
Yes,
have
but
any
for the next summer because the holiday is longer than the January.
Yes, it's better.
Let's go shopping this weekend because I think that I need some clothes for the winter, and I think now all the shops are on sale, and I need some makeup.
We could also go on Black Fridays. There is a lot of sale there.
Yes.
And what would you like to buy other than makeup and clothes?
Maybe training shoes because I like to go out in the winter. to walk with you,
Yes.
as usual. As a mother, I like to erase her like a friend, not just my daughter. I feel comfortable when she's talking to me and I give her some solutions for her problems.
Welcome back, dear viewers. We are here on She is Talking, and we don't only have Amal Al-Mulla today, but we also have Miss Ayat Al-Blushi. How are you,
Hi,
Ayat?
how about you? I'm good.
Good, good. Thank you very much. So we're very excited, Amal and I, for our segment today.
Yes, I am.
And we're always having fun with Ayat when she's here, right?
It is,
I don't
and-
even feel like it's a TV show.
Just let me
Yeah.
tell you something, dear viewers, and Ayat, because Fatuma said something, and Ayat wasn't here, and it was off air. She said, "Yay! Now it's Ayat's time, so we are going to
that's so
have
cute.
fun with that." So it was really she was so
Yeah, we're very
excited to
excited,
have the
yeah.
show.
Thank you.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, let's talk about movies.
Right?
You like watching movies? Of
Nice.
course.
This is the best thing. We were talking about memory and going back into memory lane. And one of the things that I remember going to the movie with my mom and dad. And my dad is not into movies and not into sitting in place for that much. But I remember the time that he used to take us there. So this is one of the nicest memories I have for as a family.
Right, wow.
But you still go to the movies, right?
Yes.
Yes, good. You shouldn't stop doing that.
Okay.
The last time I went to a movie was 2016, I think.
Oh, why? Well,
2017.
that's what really
Why?
a long
Yeah,
time.
I don't like going to the movie
theater?
theaters, and especially in Kuwait where they have to have the subtitles, and my head
Oh, okay.
hurts when I see that. And there are a lot of people watching it with you. I don't want anyone watching it with me, you know.
Okay.
So from that
Each one
kind
has
of yeah.
her own ritual.
Yeah, so my husband and I were in the same boat, right? So
Nice.
we don't like going to the movie theater, but we like creating this movie theater atmosphere at home.
So you
know,
have a
and
movie
that's
night.
Yes, yes, we do.
In-home
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
night. So this
Yeah,
is
of
another
course.
thing,
Yes.
right?
I have that too with my kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do that like once a week.
Nice.
We
Tell
choose,
us,
yeah,
tell
a
us
family
more.
movie.
That's nice.
So yeah, what we're talking about is that movies are fun, entertainment, but sometimes let's think beyond that. They are really, you know, they sometimes can be educational.
Right.
Yes. For example, historical genres, they
Yes,
teach us
my
a lot
favorite.
about history. Yeah, I like that too. So I learned about the World War II from movies like Pearl Harbor and Hacksaw Ridge.
Yes.
Yeah, so I learned a lot about the World War through movies. So we have, for example, historical movies. We also have movies about famous figures.
Yes.
Right.
So
Biographical,
yeah,
yes.
biographical movies. So we can be inspired by some people who, you know, show us their stories. Like, for example, Chris Gardner. You know the movie Pursuit of Happiness.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that is my favorite movie. It's very inspiring, and it shows his story how he was struggling with homelessness and how he became a successful businessman.
Yes.
So yeah, sometimes we can get inspired by movie. And something else is that movies, you know, you have a motion picture,
Right.
you also have speaking, you also have sometimes subtitle, so it can be educational. We can use it, for example, in schools. This is what I do with my students. If we have, for example, a lesson about a specific concept that it sometimes can be hard to explain, I play a video clip for them from one of the movies. And they give, you know, sometimes they have fun. Sometimes they say, "Miss, are we watching a movie for the next class? Can we bring popcorn?" So, you know, just, you know, having a sense of fun with
Creating
that.
fun
The
atmosphere. Yes.
interaction. Yeah, this
Yes.
is the interaction because you use all of their senses together.
Exactly.
With you.
This is what I'm going to say. Yeah, the
Yes.
brain learns best when it's incorporate a lot of senses.
Okay.
So we're using, you know, sight and also hearing. So this is all help in the learning process.
Right.
And about language, if we
Yes.
watch, you know, movies in other languages, for example, English, we can learn the accent.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I got my accent from watching movies. How about you?
Great.
Did you
Right.
get it from movies?
Of course,
yeah.
movies, TV shows, and
KTV too.
songs. Actually,
Yeah,
for me, it was
songs.
mostly songs.
Well,
yeah.
no, KTV too. For
Oh,
me.
also
Yeah, of
KTV
course.
too.
KTV
Yes,
too.
yes. I
But
need to
yeah,
credit
and traveling
KTV too
as
for
well,
that.
as well
yeah.
traveling because we travel.
Yeah.
I can relate to that, the interaction, because I can always see my kids when you're talking about learning languages. Now that other day, me and my kids, we were talking about one of my sisters speaks Japanese fluently.
Nice.
Mashallah.
And we were talking about like how to say thank you very much. So it's
Arigato. It's
arigato
arigato,
gozaimasu.
yeah.
And they said it, and
From
I said,
anime.
Yeah.
both of you, right? See? So this is, and I said, how would you know that? I said, no, we have other words. And they started telling me about those other words in Japanese.
Nice.
That's nice.
So
And
yeah, this is
they-
what I also
they have
noticed,
the
that
base.
now people are starting, to learn Japanese from watching, anime.
Yes.
Some of them are learning, the Turkish language by watching
series.
Turkish series.
Yeah.
So you see, they kind of be, very educational.
It's true.
Something else, movie can be, as we said, we have a family movie night.
Yes.
So it's good for the families to be
Together.
closer, to get closer at that time.
Right.
And they also can broaden our views about some specific subjects. Like I always do that when I go to the movies with my uncle, and then afterwards we keep talking for hours about the movie, discussing what do you think about this? No, I think you should do that. So we learn about each other's views just because we just watched a movie.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So Pursuit of Happiness is your favorite.
Yes,
What
it is.
about you?
Lion King.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I love
yeah,
that.
it has
yeah.
a lot of wisdom.
Yes.
I love,
Yeah.
really, I really love cartoon movies because
Yes.
I grew up on cartoon movies, and especially the animated ones and the animals that in it. I love it so much, the circle of life. So I was charging I would love to go to the places that were there, the Serengeti and all of those.
Right, Lion King was actually it was epic. So
Yes.
my favorite movie is actually King's Speech.
Whoa.
When
Wow.
they
Yes,
say
yes,
and
yeah.
my
That-
favorite
that-
actor is Jeffrey Rush. But when it comes to the Lion King, actually it's the story of Hamlet, Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Yes, I heard
So
that. Yeah.
so Lion King, and I love how they translated and they transported or transferred the
theme, yeah.
theme into the kids' brains. And also, what I appreciate about the animation in the movie is that, if I can just say, there's this big company that makes these
Yes, exactly.
movies. And Aladdin, it was my first movie to ever go to in a theater,
Yes.
right? I love how they maintained Aladdin as Aladdin, an Arabic guy, Jasmine as an Arabian princess. They did not whitewash the whole movie,
Exactly,
right?
yes,
For
exactly.
example, they did not name her Jessica. You know,
Yeah,
it was
yes,
still yes.
Jasmine.
So I love that they respected the culture behind it, and
this
I
is-
like that about
yeah,
movies.
it's not just Aladdin. You see, those are the series, so we can also interact with the culture of other
It's
countries
true.
through
Exactly.
movies.
Yeah,
Yes.
we can do that, especially through watching Indian movies.
Yes.
We notice when we watch Indian movies, like in every movie they have a dance.
Yes.
They dance, and then we later know that dancing is part of their culture.
Yes.
Part of their religions.
Yeah.
It's considered something spiritual to
Yes.
dance. So that's why it's very important for them, to impose it in their movies.
Right. It's
Exactly.
true.
They,
It's
they
true.
speak to each other through the dance moves as like this,
exactly.
and how even the amount of they put in their hands. They are
It's very
gesturing.
difficult.
It's
Yeah, it's
difficult, but
complex,
the
yeah.
gesture means something. Like there is going to be a hurricane if they say like that. And I carry that. It's not just the Indian movies. I know that during the dance of the Hawaiian and
Oh yeah, the hula,
the
Yeah.
hula
right?
dance,
Yeah,
you
they
see?
do that. Yeah.
They do it as well as the New Zealand's
Yes.
also culture. So these are symmetrics to other cultures. We can see in each culture something between them and us that we are related to at the same
Exactly.
Right.
time.
And can we also talk about the famous Kuwaiti movie Bas Ya Bahar?
Wow,
Right,
yeah.
of course.
I
This is-
haven't
it comes
seen
to-
that,
It's an
but I heard
epic.
about it.
This
I've
is
seen
an
some
epic
clips.
It is an
movie.
epic
It is an
Yeah.
epic movie.
Because maybe because I'm so young, so I did not see that
Yeah.
movie.
Now there
But
comes
no,
the
it's
age
really
when-
at the end when she
when
throws
she's
the. you
But
know,
yeah,
sea,
this scene I
yes.
have seen that scene. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
when
It's
she's
just
there
beautiful,
at the
yeah.
sea and she lost her son or
Her
something.
son, yeah.
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 And this
Man,
really
goosebumps.
also, whenever, I put it for my children to see how our ancestors suffer during those days before the oil came up.
Nice,
So this
yes.
is also a history, coming back
Yes,
to the
Exactly.
history.
So,
history,
you
not
know,
just
it kind of saves time because sometimes you want to learn about something, you read a book, and most of movies are, you know, based on books. So instead of, you know, reading a book for days or months, you just can, you know, learn about a culture or a
Right.
history of your country in just, you know, 2 minutes.
Well,
When it
this,
co- when it
this is,
comes
I
to-
may differ. If
Oh, I
read-
just
Of
wanted to
course,
say
there are
that. Yes,
alterations.
yes.
There are alterations,
Yeah.
you know, in movies, but I mean, sometimes it get easy just to get, you know, a glimpse of what was happening. That
Right.
time.
Well, yeah,
because
yeah.
for-
You can really like imagine it on a book. Your imaginations would take you some places, but if you saw it, for me personally, it would ruin the whole book if I saw it in a movie after I read it, like the Da Vinci Code. I was like,
Okay, yes, the Da Vinci Code,
I
yeah.
every
Inferno and all of
if
those,
you
yeah.
got like a critic course,
Mm-hmm.
it's very difficult to watch a movie without saying, oh, this is the time of
Yes.
the commercial and they are commercializing that, and then you critic. No, they should have been done that. I would ruin it to some people around me. So sometimes now when I go to family movies, they pick a cartoon movie
Right.
because I would ruin the other movies for them.
And going back to when we were talking about the movies and imagination,
Yes.
you know, when you read a book, for example, let's say Harry Potter, right? I've read them, or The Lord of the Rings. So I read them, or I've read them, and when it comes to the movie, you have to have responsibility as a director to, you know, promote the movie. You cannot just
Yes.
put all the parts that were in the book. Some parts and some
Yes.
details are omitted from the movie because it's commercialized. You need to make it
Yes.
grand. So the grandeur of the movie in the movie theaters, you know, and the premiere of the movie when they watch it, they need to be very, you know, in a commercial kind of style.
It is, and you know, the script writer is different than the writer itself.
The author, yes,
author
yeah.
of
So
a
they
book.
do actually ask for their advice,
Yes.
and they actually go back to consult them on the book because
Yeah.
they wrote it.
Exactly,
But you
but
need
they
to write a whole different script for the movie. That's why sometimes the movies don't give you the same satisfaction as the book when you read it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why we feel a little bit of
Disappointed.
disappointed. So this is the reason. You see, we've been talking for ages now just to say we feel disappointed if
When
we
it
read a
comes to
book
movies,
and
it's
then
true.
saw a movie. But
It's true.
I think it is, as you said, Ms. Ayat, it is really important to put all of the matters that you said, all of those points into a matter of perspective when we see a movie. Now, I don't think that we're gonna see the movie like before this episode. It's gonna have another perspective. What kind of movie we will get and what kind of gatherings that we're gonna do for that movie. Are we going to cinemas? Well, it is Saturday, so what do you say? How about we continue She Is Talking, but not now, after this.
Welcome back, dear viewers. We are still here on She Is Talking, and Amal, today we had wonderful segments. What do you think?
Well, it was really a great episode. We had a wonderful guest, Miss Sarah Gerbo, and she was an architect. She gave us a little bit of a glimpse on how we can really design our homes.
Yes.
That's a story upon a story. And speaking about stories, our colleague Ayat, Miss Ayat Al-Blushi, and she's not a colleague with us, she was thankfully with us to talk to us a little bit about the movies and
Yes.
the stories and how we can see movies and not just like go there because I want to go and just to have a good relaxed time. No, there is another aspect of movies.
Right, you can learn from the movies. And also we went back memory lane,
Yes.
right? We went down memory lane and we were talking about the memories. And it was such a fun episode. And we wish to see you on another episode of She Is Talking with my colleague Amal Al-Mulla.
Yes, thank you, Fatma. And yes, for sure, from all of us of She Is Talking, we wish you a wonderful time and we wish that you would be healthy, well, and safe.